Okay, so it's a couple days since I last touched the cabinet, and it's about 115 degrees here in the garage because I have no exhaust in the garage. So when it sits here all day and heats up, it's just a bear to work in, but we gotta work through it and get this done. So today we're going to dismantle the control panel and the guns and get everything cleaned up and reworked, and I'm going to try and cut a new piece of Lexan. I have a new piece of Lexan. We'll see about how I can get this done. Hopefully I can cut this area out here. I got a jigsaw and I'll drill 4 holes in the corners and see if I can make the square. So let's get this all torn down and torn apart and see how it turns out.
Liftoff of mission 41B, the first flight of the Orbital Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Every 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Okay, so the guns are out. I'm going to dismantle those separately. So we're going to tackle the actual control panel for now, and this is just nasty, nasty, nasty. Let's just call this Miss Jackson, because this is nasty. And we got all the scratching, and they spared the drummer. I'm a Metallica fan, not a Aerosmith fan, so I couldn't tell you the drummer's name, but he appears to have been spared. But this is just super dirty, super nasty. My lord. Yeah, this is all going to get removed. The buttons are loose. If I can even reach through here and show you, the buttons are all loose. So we're going to take this apart next and see how the overlay looks. We may end up having to get a new overlay. I don't know. We'll find out how much comes apart once I take the Lexan off, and yeah, that'll be quite an adventure. So let's get the camera set up and see how this turns out. Alright, so I got this off, and you can see now just how dirty it is. And when I took this off of here, I wish you guys could smell this, because it smells like syrup, like maple syrup. I took this off of here and I got a blast of whiff of maple syrup, and it's just the oddest smell. It still smells like maple syrup. And it's got to be because of the soda. Whatever, someone spilled half a soda or a complete can of soda or something on here, and it got underneath everything and just sat there for years and years, and it just smells, it fermented, and all the sugar turned into syrup. So yeah, you can see just how dirty that was. But it seems to be okay. This is actually laminated, or kind of a polycarbonate material. So if I can't get a Lexan protector made up, I think it will still be okay, because this is definitely a laminated material, not like kind of like MK1. Mortal Kombat 1, the CPO did not have a Lexan protector because it was a polycarbonate. This is very similar. It's a very similar material. So if I can't get a Lexan overlay, I may just simply not put one back on. Or if I can't get one fabricated, we'll try. But if it doesn't work out, I think I'll just not use one. So we'll see. But yeah, so let's get this all cleaned up and see how good I can make it. So here's what it looks like before. And here's after. And I tell you, this turned out beautifully. This being polycarbonate, it actually is a polycarbonate covered or laminated CPO. So if I did have to put, or I did have to go sans Lexan, it should still hold up just fine as long as no one actually does physical damage to it again. But you can hear that it's definitely a polycarbonate like MK1 CPO. So even if I don't have to do the Lexan or I'm not able to, this will be good. I'll just put new screws in and we'll call it done. And then kind of have to trim up the edge of the T-molding so it doesn't sit up over the lip. But yeah, this is phenomenal. So control panel's been saved. Let's start the tear down on the guns and see how that goes. This blew off of my stands here, but you can see just how dirty this was. I mean, my lord, that's bad. So let's start working on disassembling the guns and get those cleaned up. And I'm going to actually do some work on these and get these spray painted black, get them all nice and clean. You can see that there's a bit of rust on them, and we'll clean up the screws and the whole 9 yards. So time for gun disassembly, and we'll see what that entails. Hopefully everything is good. We know they were working. The Player 2 gun was a bit quieter than the Player 1 gun when it came to the recoil, so maybe I can investigate what's going on there. Maybe put a new coil in, I don't know, but I don't think I have any of the right coils on hand. We'll see. So we'll get these torn down and see what's inside and see how that goes.
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the Orbital Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Discovery's core computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Well, here it is. It didn't turn out 100%, but you know, it's going to be good enough because everything that is flawed will be hidden. First of all, let's go ahead and take the protective plastic off and do some inspecting because it didn't turn out perfect. Yeah, so this turned out horribly. Let me take you off the overhead and just show you. Hold on. Alright, so this turned out to be an absolute nightmare. You can see how terrible this is, but it's not the end of the world because this is going to be absolutely completely covered by the gun. This missing piece and this broken missing piece and this missing piece and this shitty cut, it doesn't matter because all of this will be 100% covered by the gun and the black case. So you're not going to see this, so just pretend that doesn't exist. And then over here we have the same thing, and this is just butchered because this is not true, it's Lexan, but it's acrylic. So when you try and cut it, it just, instead of bending, it just breaks, snaps and cracks and breaks. So because this turned out good enough, I'm going to just do it or leave this here. I'm not going to redo it because it's too much headache. But again, everything will be covered except I think you'll see a very sliver of this crack and a very sliver of this crack. But I think the gun goes to like right there. So you're only going to see about 1/8 of an inch of this crack and 1/8 of an inch of this crack. As a matter of fact, I'll put the gun in here and we can see that... Yeah, when it's in, you can't even see that crack is gone. Oh, I lied. This crack is gone completely, but you're going to be able to see this one. But as you can see, it's not that bad. And when we put the case on there, if I can do this here. If we put the case on here, there we go. Okay. No, I've got the damn thing on backwards. All right. If we put the case on here, it's kind of even less. That's all you can see right there. So I can live with that because you'll never ever know that's there. Well, you might, but I mean, for the most part, who looks back there? So in actuality, if I was to put the other gun on here, and the other case, it's pretty much perfect. Let me get my light here. So yeah, it cracked a little bit around this security screw, but when the screw's in there, you won't notice that either. But for the most part, I am totally happy with the way this turned out. It's too much trouble to try and redo it. Nobody reproduces this. So, except for, so you can see here that absolutely 100% of the issues with this side are not present with the case and the gun installed, so you would never know in a million years unless you took the case off or even the gun out. So overall, I think this turned out fantastic for what it is. And yeah, let's get this all cleaned up and finalized, and security screws and buttons and all that stuff installed, and then we'll see how it looks after that. Alright, so there we go. I think we're done. I can't recall if player 1 is red and 2 is blue. I may have it backwards, but it doesn't matter. I'll get that fixed later. But so except for this stuff here and this stuff here, which again is completely covered by the guns, you'll never see anything except this 1/4 inch of crack right there. It's absolutely covered up on both sides, so I'm happy with it. It's going to turn out just fine. Otherwise, except for the blemishes here, it's perfect. All my holes lined up, all the screws went in just fine. It's not kicking up. You know, the screw holes not being lined up, it's pushing up in it. It's absolutely perfect. So, yep, I think the next thing to do is get the guns cleaned up and refreshed. And we'll get those reinstalled, and the control panel will be done. I put yellow T-molding on here just to see how it looks. I'm torn between putting black back on here. I ordered a bunch of black, and I want to see how it turns out with yellow. I don't have enough yellow to do the whole cabinet. So I wanted to see what yellow looked like on here, and I'm torn between ordering red, yellow, or putting black back on, because I think red would be perfect because of the Aerosmith logo on the front and the sides and the red up here. I think red would really offset this pretty perfectly. You know, would accent this, would accent the Aerosmith. I think Midway really messed up by putting black on here, but I don't know, that maybe they wanted to accentuate the art. I don't know. I think yellow would also accentuate the Revolution X. So I'm torn between having yellow matching the sides or having the red match the Aerosmith logos and this stuff. I don't know. So what do you guys think? I'll put your opinion down in the comments. But, you know, I realize, honestly, of course, I could have used a Dremel for this, and it probably would have turned out better. But all the Dremel does, it doesn't really cut, it just burns it. It burns it and heats it up, and I could have just, I guess, in hindsight, I probably should have and could have used a Dremel, but I thought that I would be able to get away with using the jigsaw, and it just didn't work out too well. However, it worked out good enough to be able to use this and not have to scrap it and do it again. So with this all being covered up, except that little 1/4 inch right there, I am going to be completely happy with this, and it's beautiful and scratch-free and is much better than it was. So yeah, let's get the guns cleaned up, get those reinstalled, and let me know what you guys think about the T-molding, because I only have black on hand, so it may be delayed 2 or 3 days to get this project complete if I have to order different colors, but let me know what you think. Otherwise, this is complete. I'll get the guns refurbished and get those in here and get this 100% done. Then we'll move on to cabinet touch-up and T-molding installation, however it ends up being, whatever color it ends up being, and this project will basically be complete. So let's see how the guns turn out. Okay, well the only thing left now is to make a decision on the T-molding color and go with that, and then do all the cabinet cleanup, you know, like scrapes and scuffs like that, and touch up corners like this. But otherwise, yeah, I got to take the lockdown bar off, put the bolts back in, clean up the front, and clean up this side as well. But it's pretty late, so that's going to have to be a separate video. That'll be the last and final part in the series of this restoration. So stay tuned for that. But for now, yeah, otherwise it's complete. Just got to do the cabinet touch-up, and that'll secure the whole project. I wanted to paint the speaker grill, but I couldn't because of this DCS silkscreen, so I changed out all of the security screws, and we'll have to be happy with that. I tried to clean up this that I mentioned before, but it's actually damaged. It's actually a damaged part of the plastic, so I cleaned up the scuff with some alcohol, but it's not going to be perfect because it actually got damaged. So that is an actual scrape or gouge in the plastic. So we'll see if I can't replace that part at a later time, but it's not a deal breaker. But otherwise, yeah, you saw me tear down one of the guns here, and then I tore down the other one off camera in the interest of not having a super long video. I tore down one and put it all back together, cleaned it up inside and out, the whole 9 yards there. Did the same thing on the other one off camera to make a bit of a faster video. So everything is basically done. We saw how well this turned out. Just ignore everything you can't see underneath the covers. But except for that, I mean, if you walked up to here and didn't know that was like that under the covers, you would never ever know that this wasn't brand new from factory. It just turned out absolutely amazing. Really happy with how it all ended up being. Yep, just for that one little crack right there that you'll never know unless you lean forward. And who's gonna see that? Who's gonna do that? Yeah, it turned out great. So happy with that. Not gonna make a new one because there's no reason to, not for that one little crack. So let's turn it on, make sure it's still working, and then we'll get the cabinet cleaned up in a final part, and that'll wrap this up. So let's make sure it's still working. Yeah, we got our sound. I got sweat running down my eye. Oh, into my eye, I should say. This is gonna take a while, so I'm gonna cut away here and come back when this is done here. All right, almost done there. Coin door lights work. Everything is ready to go except for cosmetic on the cabinet. That's about it. All right. Let's kill the light here so we can see what's going on. Focus, focus. Okay, player 1 start. Player 2 start.
Let's go!
Wake up! The revolution has begun! Generation X is in effect!
Let's make sure the CD button still works. Yep, player 2. Still quieter, I don't know why, but I'm not going to worry about it. All right, so that about wraps it up for this video. Turn this off again. So yeah, I haven't really investigated as to why the player 2 side is weaker. It may have something to do with the bridge rectifier on the gun PCB. I may take another look at that, but for now it does operate. It's just weaker than the other one. Not sure why. I'll look into it. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you have questions, let me know. Let me know what you think about which color I should go with for the T-molding. And I'll wait to hear from you on that. I actually have enough red on hand to do this. I may just put this, leave this yellow, and then do red on the rest of the cabinet. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. But otherwise, yeah, it's complete. Thanks for watching. And stay tuned for the final part where we touch up the cabinet and call this project done.